Hey, how's it going guys? Phil here, and today I'm going to be introducing you to a new product looking for funding on Kickstarter, the EasyCap, a universal touchless soap dispenser. First off, I'd like to thank EasyCap for sending me several of these preview units to test for free, and I'm going to talk about the different variations and options you can choose if you decide to back their project. The thing that sets their hands-free soap dispenser apart from most others is that it's not a self-contained dispenser or container, so it's actually being marketed as an intelligent dispenser cap that you can attach to virtually any bottle with a standard size screw cap. And it doesn't even have to be soap. It can be lotion, hand sanitizer, aloe vera, or even rubbing alcohol. Inside the box, you'll receive the soap dispenser, which looks a little like a spray bottle top. You'll also receive about 20 inches of clear tubing that you can custom cut to length for your bottle, and two different size adapter caps, a small 28mm cap and a larger 32mm cap. Each cap comes with a plastic washer to create an airtight seal and spacers that go inside the caps for shorter necked bottles. You'll also receive an instruction manual in English, though the translations aren't perfect, but at least it's illustrated. This style is called the Basic, with a white plastic body and translucent blue trim. You'll also notice a small pictogram that says Automatic above it near the dispensing tip. On the underside, you have the output nozzle, infrared motion sensors so it knows when there's a hand under the nozzle, and the power button for the unit. At the neck, there's a red rubber gasket and the input tube post. Now, there are three different output types, if you will, for different kinds of liquids that you could be dispensing, and even though these two units look identical, the nozzle tips are actually different. For example, this one produces a steady stream of liquid, while this one creates an aspirated mist. There's also a third type that dispenses foam, and I'll demo all of these in a bit so you can see the difference. The EasyCap uses two AAA batteries, which are loaded in from the top, so we'll remove the outer battery cover, and inside there's a secondary waterproof cover. Pull back the inner lock tab, and remove the inner door. And here's where we'll install the batteries. Note that batteries were not included with my test units. When replacing the inner door, be sure to slide the locking tab in to ensure the battery compartment is sealed and protected from water. Then replace the outer cover. While I would have preferred something rechargeable, the batteries are supposed to last 6 months to over a year, depending on how often you use the machine. To turn the unit on and off, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds, until the orange LED in the tip flashes. Now, when the unit detects an object under the nozzle from 2.5 inches away or less, the motor will run to draw in the contents of the bottle and dispense a predetermined amount. There are 3 dispensing amounts, and short pressing the power button cycles through them. When the LED flashes once, that's a small pump. 2 flashes is a medium pump, and 3 flashes is a large pump. To install the intake tubing, simply push it onto the tube post on the bottom of the spray head. If you have a hard time getting it to go on the post, soak the end of the tube in some hot water first to soften it up. So here I have a regular, off-the-shelf pump bottle of hand soap, the kind that you have to press down on to manually get the soap out. Now the advertising claim for the EasyCap is that the adapters will fit 99% of bottles on the market, and while I can't test them all, they should at least fit some of the most common brands' bottles. So let's remove the manual pump, and it looks like we'll need to use the smaller cap for this one. Since it looks short, I'll also be using the spacer inside the cap. And don't forget the plastic washer, so that the seal will be leak-free. Okay, so this should screw down onto the bottle. Great, the thread's lined up, and that feels pretty tight. Before I install the EasyCap, I'm going to have to cut the tubing, because it's way too long. I'm going to eyeball it here, and it looks like this is enough to get me to the bottom of the bottle. I'm just going to cut it here with a pair of regular scissors. Now, they recommend to cut an arrow shape into the free end of the tubing to prevent it from creating suction against the bottom of your soap container. But these scissors are too big to be precise, so I'm doing it here with some wire snips. And that should be fine. It doesn't need to be perfect. So now just drop the tube in and snap the unit into the adapter cap. Alright, I forgot to account for any curvature or bending of the flexible tube, so it doesn't quite reach the bottom of my bottle. You'll probably want to add an inch or so of extra tubing to ensure that you'll be able to pump out the entire contents of your bottle. I also want to make sure that it really is leak-proof, so here goes. Okay, great. Nothing is leaking or spilling out, so I'd say that's pretty airtight. Let's turn the unit on. Now, when you install this onto a new bottle, you're going to have to prime the pump. So that means running it a couple times so all the air is pumped out of the tube before you'll be able to get any soap to come out. And now we have soap. I believe this is the medium pump. So if I short press the power button, now I should get a large pump. If you can hear that, the motor runs for slightly longer, about half a second or so, and that lets more soap come out. Then this is the small pump. And you really don't get that much at all. The other thing you can do is to just set the unit at a higher pump level, but move your hand away sooner, and it'll stop pumping once it detects that your hand is no longer there. One thing that I noticed is that with thick or gel-like liquids, you may get half a drop left over on the nozzle. Now, I haven't noticed any drips on my counter, but if you don't use the dispenser often, this liquid could dry up and clog the nozzle, depending on what you're dispensing. Thankfully, the machine is IPX7 waterproof, so if you need to, you can rinse or wash the whole unit under running water, and it should be fine and good to go once it's dry. Now, as I mentioned before, there are two other dispensing types, so now I'll show you the mist one. Also in the basic style, the blue and white color, and this one spits out a cone of mist, much like a spray bottle of Windex. One of the things that I noticed is that there doesn't seem to be any discernible difference on this model between the three output levels. In fact, this unit is distinctly different, in that as long as you hold your hand under it, it will continue to dispense in short bursts. Whereas with the liquid model, you had to move your hand away and put it back to get another pump. Alright, now I'm just making a mess. Anyway, this style dispenser is better suited for thin solutions or alcohol-based liquids that require a higher volume and aspirated spray to be effective, so like a facial toner, for example, or makeup remover. And the last dispensing type is foam, and I have it here in the Prime style, which is a glossy pearl off-white color with chrome trim, and you can see the difference between that and the basic style. And here, the adapter caps are different too, since they're bigger at 40 and 42 millimeters respectively. That's because foam dispensers generally have wider openings to accommodate the special foam action manual pump. So of course, the plastic washers are also larger, and the tubing comes with a special tip at the end, though I'm not quite sure what it actually does, other than weight down the end of the tube. So this is a retail manual foam soap bottle that I'm using, and that's how much foam that I'll get on one pump. So let's switch to top. I'm going to use the 40mm adapter with the spacer and the gasket. Make sure it's on there tight and snap on the foaming dispenser. And again, we have to prime the pump. So that's a small pump. This is a medium pump. And this is a large pump. So yeah, that works great too. Each of these units are set to retail at $50 a piece, but the special Kickstarter intro price can save you 30% or more, depending on how many you reserve. And remember, the tips aren't changeable, so you should select the dispensing type that you use the most, or just pick up one of each. And make sure you pay attention to the style color as well, since both the basic and prime are available, but at different reward levels. There's only a few days left to back this project, and they've already hit one of their stretch goals to introduce a new color style, Tiger. So head on over to the project page if you want to reserve one before the product officially launches. And if they meet the next stretch goal, there'll even be a super stylish Pitch Black version. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can ask me any questions in the comments. I'll put a link to the project's Kickstarter page in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join me next time.